Hey everybody, Shav, Nobody Else's Auto, 7 o'clock Sunday evening, time for Sunday night live chat. Got a great group on YouTube right out of the gate. Looks like we are connecting on Facebook as well. As always, we are live on both formats, both YouTube and Facebook, as you see me glancing back and forth between monitors at different comments. Who's on with us ready to go tonight? Brian Dispatch is here. Mark's on. Pete's ready to go. Charles made it back tonight. Gal the Car Guy's on. Hadn't been on in a while. Glad you're back. Kevin L's here. Jim Petty. Brian Schultz coming in quicker than I can keep up here. Bill Disk, Alan from Arizona. Scott's on. I hope I got everybody. I hope I didn't miss somebody. If I did, I apologize. And it looks like we are connecting on Facebook as well. Dad's over there on Facebook. Tom's here. Ken Rule's here. Rebel Driver's Garage. Scott's on with us. Glad you're here, Scott. Jeff from Ottawa. Scott Luft on Facebook is here. United City's on. Leo's here. Sam's back on Facebook. Awesome crowd tonight. Numero uno back on with us again. Weston's on. Glad you guys all made it back. I still can't believe you do, but you come back every week and you guys make this chat what it is. Lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff to talk about. But first and foremost, Steve's here. We'll see how long we go tonight. Obviously, I've got a full episode planned. We were on the road last week. We did a short episode, but I way overdid it at the Springfield swap meet Thursday afternoon and Friday, and I was feeling pretty rough yesterday on the way home. In fact, Shayla kept asking me on the way home, it's like, are you okay to drive? Because you're not quite right, like even more unright than usual. Randy's here. So that's right, Brian. We'll see you here in a few weeks in September. United MC, more 60s and 70s cars. I've got so many videos to do, man. I don't even know what all I've got. What do I have for 60s and 70s stuff coming in? We can look real quick. I've got a 69 Caprice coming in, a 68 Impala coming in, a 77 F350 Super Cab, a 74 Le Mans, a 65 F100, a 66 Econoline, a 75 LTD, a 63 Chevy pickup. There's some of the stuff from the 60s and 70s that are coming in here shortly. As soon as I have time, you'll get them picked up. Kenny's here with us. So we'll see how my voice hangs in there, because I was about this close to going like too far over the edge at the swap meet. I pushed it too hard. Well, hello, dum-dum. Ken from Michigan's on with us. Yes? Can I help you? What? Yes, we know you're here. They can see you right there. Yes, you. Yeah, they know you're here. You going to say hi? You don't want to say hi? Or are you going to say hi? They're saying hi to you. The 69 Caprice, I think, is a 4-door. But I do have side mullies for a 69 Caprice 2-door off a car that I stripped years ago. Do not step on the keyboard. But I do have all side mullies for a 69 Caprice 2-door. Yes, you. Yes, you. You're a pain in the butt. Yes, you're a pain in the butt. So we're going to burn through the whole episode tonight. If my voice goes, we will probably skip the magazine. I've got it ready, and it's a great magazine, but if we have to push it till next week, we'll push it till next week. We'll see how long I can make it tonight. But obviously, lots of things to talk about, including a pain in the butt cat. Steel Ponies, Jeff Taylor's here with us. But first and foremost, if you guys did not see it, Studezilla is no longer. Palmer had a crash last night in Ark City. Law Dog's here. From what JR posted, JR Sandlin, another friend of ours, Sandlin Iron and Metal in Wichita, Kansas, with the Nitro 70 Chevelle, he said Palmer got loose, hit one wall, shot over and hit the other wall, and then the car barrel rolled. Fortunately, Scott's okay. He's pretty banged up. He's got a broken wrist and black eyes from what JR posted, but fortunately, that could have been way worse, but Studezilla is pretty much destroyed. But fortunately, sounds like Scotty's going to be okay. They're going to have to do surgery on his wrist. But so hate to hear that Studezilla's gone, but thankfully, Scott came through it as well as can be expected, just banged up a bit. So, all right, comments here. Ford Muscle Lewis is here. John's on. Let's see. Randall's here, the Nut Farm. Leo's here. So, yeah, sounds like he's going to be okay, just banged up. But, just hate to hear that. Hate to have you hear your friends were in a crash. But fortunately, the car can be rebuilt. And Scott's going to be okay. So, Tony's here with us. Yes, do you mind? We're trying to do a show here. Apparently, you don't mind a bit. Yes, you're a goofball. Okay, we better keep moving, even though you're in the way and you're sitting on the sheet. Last week, obviously, we ran a short episode. We started a little bit early. I was out of town. I told you if we could jump on and do something quick, we would, and that's what we did. We went on a little early because we decided to go to the show last Sunday night. We went to see Oppenheimer, and it started at 7:30, so we snuck in a real short episode and went and saw Oppenheimer last Sunday night right after that. No, get back. You're going to step on the keyboard. Yes, I know you are. Yes, I know you are. How about you move? How about you move? Yes, how about you move? All right, tell everybody bye, and then you can get down. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Tell everybody bye. Yes, there, say bye. Now you can get down for a while. Okay. Oppenheimer, if I don't go to a lot of movies, so when I do go to a movie, I want to just sit back and enjoy the movie and enjoy the story. Oppenheimer was one of those movies where it was a job to watch it. And what I mean by that, there were 3 different storylines going at the same time. There was obviously the development of the atomic weapon, as well as, and I mean, if you didn't study a lot of this, you don't know a lot about it, but Oppenheimer actually had communist ties prior to being hired by the government. He wasn't necessarily a communist, but his brother was, and he had some other ties to some of the communist groups in the United States. And then in the early 50s, there was a senator that tried to wreck his reputation and would not let him renew his classified clearance levels. So there were 3 different storylines going. There was the storyline with the Senate hearings, with the senator who was trying to ruin his reputation. There was the questioning of Oppenheimer during that time, as well as the development of the atomic weapon. And it got to be a job to watch it. For me, I work all the time. So if I'm going to go sit down for a 3-hour movie, which is what it is, I want to sit down and relax and enjoy it and not have to work to try to pay attention to that. It was a decent movie, but I would rather have heard more about the story of the development and follow the whole thing all the way through to possibly the Senate hearings, as far as what he went through after the fact, versus trying to track all 3 of them at the same time. That got to be a job. So that's my personal opinion, for whatever that's worth, but I'm no movie critic. So Alex is here with us. So that's what we did last Sunday night. And then Alex's Fat Man and Little Boy was better. So there's a movie called Fat Man and Little Boy, also obviously about the development of atomic weapons, that sounds like it's a better watch. So thanks for that, Alex. I appreciate throwing that out there for everybody. But after we got through that Sunday night, we had, like I told you guys, we were going to head to Missouri. We got sidetracked last Monday. Paul Newman's in it. So, okay. You shouldn't go and see Barbie. Well, I didn't go and see Barbie, so I didn't have to worry about that one. But we got sidetracked. We did not head straight to Missouri on Monday. I got a call last weekend, and we actually had to go south instead of going to the east first. Neil's here with us. We actually had to run south first thing Monday morning instead of heading straight to Missouri, because I got a call from Doug Prey. And guess what we did Monday afternoon? We went for a ride in a Duesenberg. Yes, the Duesenberg is driving under its own power. And we went down to Oklahoma and we went for a ride in the Duesenberg. I've got that video mostly done to get it up this week. We did run into some problems with it that I had not anticipated. But there's a few of the clips riding around in it inside the car. But one thing I was not aware of until after we had the videos done. So I shot some, I got in with Doug and we sat in there and went riding around a bit. And then I also did, yes, you're a goofball. I got in the rumble seat and we did some video from back there. Now, one thing that we ran into that I did not even think about because I've never had this happen before. I had, after we got done and I got back to the hotel that night and I started going through the clips. Mike from Texas is on. I had a ton of static in everything when if I was inside the car or right over the engine while it was running, tons of static. I've never had, no, get off the keyboard. Get off the keyboard. And what I think happened was, here's a shot of the dash. Now this car has twin coils and the coils mount right behind the ignition switch. So I think what had happened is when I was obviously inside the car or in the rumble seat with the car right over Doug's shoulder or standing in front of the car directly over the engine, like in these shots, I had just static and static and static and static, way too much static. So what I had to do is I've got a bunch of those clips together and I had to mute it and put music over it. I've got a few clips of Doug driving it around. I've got one clip that had some static, but it wasn't terrible. So I went ahead and threw it in there. So unfortunately, you're not going to get the whole experience due to the amount of static. And all I can figure is it had to be from those coils literally right there by where we were shooting. So yes, Alex, the car is going to Auburn. That was the goal, to get it running and driving, to drive it in the parade in Auburn on Labor Day weekend. So that is the plan. Gary's here with us. So that sidetracked us on Monday, but obviously it was worth it. I got to ride in a Duesenberg. I mean, just like somebody like Pete said, who can say they've ridden in a Duesenberg? I've got to ride in a Duesenberg. I rode in the rumble seat of a Duesenberg. We've got the video at all. So yeah, it looks like all you guys are pretty much agreeing with me that's all I can figure, because I've never had that kind of feedback issue ever before. But we got it done. We had it. We got right. We shot video with it. We'll get that clip up this week. What else? Then obviously something else before we went to Springfield Swap Meet. I did talk to Will at the Pioneer Village, the director, again, and there are some things that we are discussing there. Mark is ready to watch it. I'll try to get it finished up. I've got a few things I need to retweak on it. I had it done, and then I actually found kind of some cool jazzy type music that to kind of go with it. I think is kind of 30s jazzy type stuff, and so I'm kind of hoping it kind of comes out cool. So I redid some of it and put it in a different order. So we'll see how it comes out. I'm trying to work with what I can. So, but anyway, that will be coming up. But anyway, I talked to Will Pioneer Village. A few of you have asked about making donations. Pete's ready to go. He saw the jet video. Scott's got his Galaxy moving. That's always a step in the right direction. So Dennis is here. But when I talked to Will, lots of different things going on at Pioneer Village. Some of you guys had asked about making a monetary donation. So I do have a link for that. Something else discussed Do you think the Caprice will be there in 3 weeks? I doubt it. I'm just not going to have time to even get it, even if it's out, because it's not dug out yet. And I've got so many auction cars to list over the next 2 weeks. On top of keeping up with shipments, I kind of doubt it. There's a possibility, but I kind of doubt it. I've got 169 Impala Tudor hardtops, the only 69 full size I've got here right now. But something else that Will and I talked about, if they decide to do this, and I don't know if some of you guys would be interested in doing this as well, was possibly doing a adopt a car program to help with their facility maintenance and upgrades and upkeep, where you could adopt a car for a year. So I don't know if that was something you guys would be interested in doing. If we all, if everybody wanted to chip in a few bucks, the Nobodies from Nobody Show could adopt a car or adopt a couple cars at Pioneer Village. We could, if you guys wanted to do something like that to help them out, anything like that, I'll obviously talk to Will about it. He's, obviously Will's their new director. He wants, his heart seems to be in the right place. He wants this thing to go and be better. So, some of you guys asked about donating. If that's something that maybe we could do, they just put a little sign, the Nobodies from Nobody Show. We could do something like that. And depending on how much money we raise, sponsor 1 or 2 cars every year to help the museum out for facilities and maintenance and things like that. So anybody that wants to do that, if you guys start, Greg's here from Glasgow with a little 62 Tempest wagon. Glad you're on with us, Greg. That's totally up to you guys, but if that's something we want to do, let me know. If you do want to contribute to it, make sure you note that on any payments so I can keep track of that and keep that money into a separate account as we keep working towards this thing, and Will and I keep working together to possibly try to roll this program out. So, but lots of things happening up there. They actually have, big plans. Their car show is coming up. If you are in Nebraska or anywhere near Nebraska, September 2nd is their car show at the Pioneer Village in Minden, Nebraska. So you guys might keep that in mind as well. Alec is here on Facebook. Scott is planning on trying to make that car show great. So after that, obviously, we got to Auburn Court Duesenberg. I talked to Will. That was all first of the week. Then we headed on over to Missouri. We did go to Branson for a couple days. The car show, I believe, is a fundraiser for them as well. They want to start doing these events to help, generate interest in the museum, get people there, things like that. So, but anyway, we headed to Missouri. We did go to Branson for a couple days. Went to one show and went to downtown Branson, kind of hung out there a little bit, and then headed to the Springfield Swap Meet. Obviously, the reason we were going was the Springfield Swap Meet, and I did very well there, I think, other than the fact that I pushed it way too hard. But it was great. It was sold out. It was a mess trying to get in Thursday. They were supposed to open the gates at noon. Something that was out of the control of the club hosting the event was they're building a brand new huge arena in there, and they were still working on it. And they had inspectors in there and construction equipment in there. And this building was supposed to have been done like a month ago, and they just didn't. They didn't get it done. They didn't let anybody into the grounds till 3 or 4 o'clock. It was kind of a mess. So I bought some stuff out of the parking lot. Walked around buying stuff off guys' trailers if I could see it. But overall, I did well. Back of the truck was full. Back seat of the truck was full. Shockingly, I bought a bunch more signs. I'm sure that surprises no one. I did do a video from the Springfield Swap Meet, so we'll be bringing you that as well. What was great about it, of course, obviously, one thing the internet will never, ever, ever replace is seeing your friends and your buddies at a swap meet. And in a lot of cases, that's the only time you see them. Bob, my good friend Bob Huff, he was there. We see him every year. Mick and the boys with the orange camper from last year, saw those guys again. But one thing, finally, after like 5 swap meets of passing each other, finally ran into Benny with Classic Ride Society. Every time we go to a swap meet, it's like the next week we're talking about it on here. finally ran into Benny with Classic Ride Society. So that was awesome to get to talk to him. And finally catch up with him. So we did a little clip with him for this channel, did a little clip with him for his channel. So that was exciting as well. Pockets aren't completely empty, but I sure put a dent in them. I still like to go to Branson, Scott. It just, there's certain things that are okay. Certain things it's, a little too much. So it, I wouldn't want to go spend 2 weeks there, but a couple days was okay. Find a couple things to do, a couple good places to eat, things like that. So yeah, I don't think the lodges are going to help. I got to keep drinking water is about all I can do. Cause like I said, I pushed it way too hard at the Springfield swap meet, but Rico and Jess were there. But what you guys care about, what do you guys care about? What happened to the Springfield swap meet? What I found, badges, I got about 15 more badges, many of which will be duplicates that you guys are going to have a shot at. Bill says, how many promos? 11. I got 11 promos. Nope, not badges with a bison on it. Nope, didn't get any badges with a bison. So I got 11 promos that we'll be working into the show here coming up, but there's a few of them that I will probably sell, but most of them we don't have triples of. So so the ones I've got duplicates of that I got this weekend, Dad doesn't have. So, but there's one or two that are going to end up in the auctions. Alec is ready to go. He's like, I like badges. Yeah, Benny's a great dude. It was, and I had never met him. He's seen me and hollered at me, so it was cool. And we got to chat for a while, so it was awesome. No bubblegum signs. The only thing I bought that wasn't a car sign was an ice cream sign. Everything else was gas and oil. Just the one ice cream sign is the only thing that wasn't gas and oil. Grease caps. Almost 50 grease caps. And some really cool ones. I mean, like some really cool, like oddball grease caps. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have time to go through. I got it all out of the truck and did a video today. But by the time I got all that done, I didn't have time to get much ready for tonight. So I got a few things in the box tonight. I got a box tonight from Springfield, but there's lots of cool stuff. Is finding parts on eBay no good anymore? eBay has been terrible. I still do. They're difficult. They're expensive. And one thing about eBay, everything I put on there, it's marked up to cover that. So that's one thing you guys bear in mind. If you see somebody you're interested in, Google their user ID or see if they've got any information on how to find them. It will probably cost you a little less. Yeah, Pete, almost 50 grease caps. And there's a few that are duplicates, but all kinds of weird stuff. I need a bunch of these. I need to go through my stuff closely to see what all I've got. But there's going to be a lot of super cool grease caps coming up. Cans, I got a few cans. Not a lot of extra cans. I got one killer can that I'm definitely going to keep. So lots of stuff coming up there that I know you guys are going to enjoy. So we'll be getting that content up. I did a video on everything that I brought home today as well. So Randall's already freaking out. Did not buy any matchbooks, Mark. I found some. I found a guy that had 3 or 4 display cases of them, but they were pretty pricey. They were some decent matchbooks, but they were pretty pricey. So I passed on those. But one other thing that we absolutely need to talk about before we move on tonight, obviously Monterey. You know, I wasn't there. Jim is there. Our good friend Jim Wicks, Ford Guru, the Wikipedia, was there. I've heard a little bit from him. And while we get into this, if anybody is on the computer and you want to look up the results from last weekend from Mecum Monterey, look at lot F116. So look at lot F116 on Mecum from Monterey this weekend, and we got a cool story about that car coming up here in a minute. Tony got his magazine that he ordered on eBay that we've been doing the last couple of weeks. And I agree with you, Scott. I saw an awful lot of bid goes on as I went through the results. Yes, Scott, I did get some toys that, and believe it or not, most of the toys other than the promos, I think we're going to sell. Met a cool toy guy there. Actually, he's going to be on the video as well. So we got some toys from him. Mark the toy guy that are going to be coming up here in a few weeks, over the next few weeks as well. But I did, it does seem like there was an awful lot of bid goes on this weekend, more so than usual for a Mecum auction. So I do agree with you on that. Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's Packard brought a ton of money, over $300,000. But some interesting things from this weekend that I did get from Jim. Did anybody see the press debut of the Mustang GTD? Now, Jim just sent me this about an hour ago now, so I didn't have time to look anything up. Mark Wendelberg, I'm not sure about that, Weston. The Mustang GTD. You guys can look this up and do some more research on it. But supposedly the goal with this car, Pete's heard about it. From what Jim told me, is it is going to race for the FIA World Championship in 2024. The Road to Le Mans travels through Daytona and Sebring. Jeff Taylor seen it. Well, Jim was at the press release for that car. These are pictures from the press release. And like I tell you guys all the time, Jim is the Ford guy. I mean, it's just, you've seen the videos, you know what it's like. Jim is the Ford guy. He just is. That's just a fact of life, And here's a picture of Jim at the press debut of the GTD with Jim Owens, who is Mustang brand manager for Ford Motor Company. So, yeah, that's right. Tractor Mike's on with us on Facebook. He says Jim is the man yet, because Mike knows him. We all hang out together at Mecum. So there he is with Ford Motor Company's Mustang brand manager at the press debut of the GTD Mustang right there in the background. So he's definitely when it comes to Fords, he's the guy. So did anybody look up car F116 from yesterday? Yeah, the aero package on that car is definitely out there. Lots of comments on that body kit, but I'm sure there's a lot of wind tunnel data to justify that aero package. So, but F116 went across the block at Mecum Monterey if it was a Friday car. That's right, Steel Ponies. Jeff, Ford and Dodge are really trying to keep the muscle car alive. Canada says you're welcome for the Ford GTD. We built and engineered it. The car F116 was a 1970 Ford Mustang Boss 429 in Grabber Blue. And if you're not at the computer where you can look it up, there's a picture of the car. Now, what's significant about this car? The car did not sell. They closed the bid at $240,000. The significance of this car with our friend Jim Wicks, that car, lot F116, which was CarCraft number, let me look here. CarCraft number 2224, the Boss 429, that was the very first Boss 429 Jim Wicks ever found. Tweely D's here with us. That car that did not sell for $240,000 on the block Friday was the very first Boss 429 Jim Wicks ever found. He found it in a horse pasture in 1977. The car was sold new out of Tulsa, down in his neck of the woods. He bought that car for $600 in 1977. He cleaned it up a bit. And he got $1,800 out of it. And at the time did great on it, which at that time it was a 7 or 8 year old beat up, wore out Mustang. At $1,800, that was pretty nice used car money for the late 70s. You know, that was fairly late model used car money. So that was the very first Boss 429 Jim Wicks bought. Now, one thing that now to even put this into even more perspective of Jim being our Ford guy, of all the Boss 429s Jim has been involved with over since 1977, cars that either he bought or, you know, was partnered up on with another guy or bought for a client, Jim Wicks has been involved with 43 different Boss 429s in the last 45 years. So there's not a lot of people out there that can say they've been involved with 43 different Boss 429 Mustangs. And that, obviously, that doesn't include the Shelbys, the Cobras, or anything else. So, yeah, that was the first of 43 Boss 429s that Jim Wicks was involved with. So, I thought that was kind of an interesting little story that you guys may enjoy. And having, you know, good pictures of that car up, you can go look it up, F116 here later on after we get done and check it out. But I thought that was a great story that you guys might enjoy. So anyway, I guess we probably ought to get moving on here. We got a lot of stuff to do yet tonight. But as we kind of keep moving through here, we'll get to the promo model, do some badges and emblems. We'll get to story time, and then we're going to talk about the raffle and do some auctions tonight. And we'll see if I can make it through all the way to the magazine. So I think I'm caught up on comments here. I've been trying to keep a pretty close eye on them, and it looks like we're doing okay. So, anyway, let's move on. Promo model tonight. I'm sure Mark's going to like this one. It's a cute little car in pretty decent shape, really. On the white on white 1961 Ford Falcon. Yeah, pretty nice little promo here. It's not banged up, not beat up. Nice finish on the white paint. You can't even see a little bit of reflection on it. Hearts are rolling. Always like to see that. The front of the car is still intact. Bumper corners aren't busted off. The 1961 right there on the plate. We can see inside this one. I don't know if you guys can tell. They've got gray inserts on the seats. It's probably kind of hard to see. Yeah, Mark does love it. Kind of might be a little tough to see on the screen, but if you look right inside there, it does have gray inserts on the seats so that the interior probably would kind of at least partway stand out since it was white on white. This promo does have all the original hubcaps and tires on it. The 61 plate on the back. And this being an early 60s Ford, it also does have some of the features noted on the bottom chassis. Now, I don't know if you guys can make some of this out or not. I will read some of them to you here, some of this lettering and things like that. You guys are all digging this one. No, this is not from this weekend. I didn't get home until 4 o'clock yesterday. So that's why I said I grabbed a few emblems and got them in the box for tonight. But other than that, I didn't have time. You know, I got home at 4. I worked until 11 last night, getting all this stuff ready for tonight. So last night when I was doing this, all the stuff from this weekend wasn't even out of the truck until 2 o'clock today. So yeah, and that's right. Number one, these smaller cars were considered a second car for the American family. Now I've only got 2 of these. I got a white one and a blue one. So I don't think I've got any extras on these. But on the bottom side of this one, it does say new measure of compact car value. Seat 6, up to 30 miles per gallon. Vacation size trunk. Roll on front fenders. Rust and corrosion resistant. Zen-clad rocker panels and underbody members. 4,000 miles between oil changes. 2 engines. So, triple life on the muffler. These were 6 cylinders, number one. These would have been a 6-cylinder. Jim says, never seen a car promo he didn't like. What is the Falcon promos worth? I don't know. I haven't bought any. This one's a pretty nice one, so it's got to be worth a little bit. But, I mean, I wouldn't think, Bill usually knows a better idea on these. This one, 60, 80, maybe $100. It doesn't have any broken pieces. If you wanted one, this is a pretty decent one. So, pretty cool piece. Back in 61 as a compact, but now it's bigger than a full-size Lincoln. You're not too far off, Alex. But there we have for the promo tonight, the 1961 Ford Falcon in, I think it's the Wimbledon white, basically the Wimbledon white that Ford used for like 100 years on like half their production models. Kind of an off-white, eggshell white. On the 1961 Ford Falcon two-door sedan. Vacation size trunk means sleep 3 instead of 6. Yeah. Almost a twin to the car in the yard. The little Falcon two-door post I've got in the yard, white, literally almost a twin to this car. So that's right, Brian Dispatch. Undercoating didn't work in Canada. They're gone anyway. Time for some badges. The first one, it's a two-piece badge. It's really cool from 1930 and a very unique, and it was only used part of the year, probably because it wasn't, probably was just not very easy to work with. Neil saw the yard car, needs to raise some cash. There you go, Neil. But this badge from the early production, first series, 1930, Willys 6. Now, this is a two-piece badge, so I'm going to kind of have to try to hold it together. But check this thing out. Now, the enamel part of this is a separate piece from the wings. So this actually sat right here in there, and then this had the button on the back, which is broke off. So I'm guessing that these wings were placed on the grill shell. The badge was placed on top of the wings, and then the button on the back that we typically see on this was pressed flat, and that's what holds the unit together. Now, Pete, again, says I've never seen one. I hadn't either. I would imagine this was probably just complicated and cumbersome to get the wings on, get the badge on square into, because this is countersunk in here. Alex digging it. Oh, all you guys are digging this thing. So you had to get the wings flat. You had to get the badge square and in the countersunk slot on the wings, and then pressed flat to hold it all together. So I'm assuming, because when I looked at, the American Auto Emblems website where I look everything up, it said this was early production. Late production 31 or 30 just used this. So I'm guessing this was just a cumbersome, tedious process, and they just dropped this part and went with that. Why was Wimbledon white so popular in Fords was because the Deuce wanted to separate himself and his company from the any color as long as it's black theme and show the racing attitude. Well, that would kind of make sense. So size on this thing, the wings. The wings are almost 6 inches across. So this was a pretty good, decent size badge. And about 1.25 inches high. So almost 6 inches across here. Now the badge itself, the Willys Aero didn't come out till the mid-50s. This was 30. Pete's got to find one. The badge itself is 1.75 inches by 1 inch. So this is 1.75 inches by 1 inch. So almost a third of the 6-inch wingspan of the badge. The reference site, American Auto Emblems. I think that's it. It's, believe it or not, it's liked on this computer. It comes up instantly. AmericanAutoEmblems.com. That's where I look up a lot of these early badges. Awesome. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing, car guy. I'm not responsible for you buying too many badges when you get on there. Not my problem, because that's what I do. So, but there it is. The first series 1930 Willys 6 winged radiator badge. Next, as always, we jump forward, sometimes 1 decade, sometimes 2 decades. This time we're going to jump up into the 60s and do a horn button, because we love horn buttons. Horn buttons are awesome. This is from the late 60s era for Chevrolet, the 1967, I think, Chevrolet Caprice. And this is specific to the Caprice because it has the Caprice badge in it. Check this thing out. Check out the depth on this thing. Gold background with the Caprice emblem in it. Definitely has the 3D type effect with some depth in that plastic. This is smooth. It's flat right across the front. But the gold depth makes the Caprice emblem look like it is floating in the middle of the badge. Metal chrome ring around the plastic center on this Caprice badge. Tom's here. Glad you're here for a while. He's got a roll, though. So this is a sharp-looking piece. The chrome on it's really bright. But there again, Caprice was Chevrolet's luxury car. It was the top of the line. Even when you're sitting there staring at the steering wheel, you have to be able to know you're in a premium car. So I don't know. I'll hold it up close to the camera, see if you guys can. I mean, there's no depth to it really, but it sure gives you the illusion of depth with that Caprice emblem right in there. This was a rubber ring on it. It had a little mounting collar on it, and then the ring snapped on it. So thought that was a pretty cool piece as well. So anyway, that's what we've got for badges and emblems tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed them. The first series, 1930 Willys 6 winged badge, as well as the 1967 Chevrolet Caprice horn button. Story time. Let's squeeze in a little story time here real quick. A car that Dad and I went way out in western Kansas to get a long time ago, back in the 90s for sure. And let's check out a 1963 Pontiac Grand Prix. This was a complete car, and it was way, I can't even remember where it was at, but it was way out west. But obviously, look, you can tell from the pictures, this was a pretty good car. But of course, you remember, this was back in the 90s, so this car was only 30 years old, and it had been, was all intact, had been well taken care of. I remember that run. We went clear out there, and we ended up, I'm pretty sure it was on the same run, was when we went and went out there and picked up the car, did some checking around, and asked about other cars out there. And that's when we found a 65 Buick Grand Sport, which was not a very common car either. But there, for the time, there wasn't, today's world, it would be worth dragging in. At the time, there wasn't much left of it. But that's where I got my little 65 Grand Sport glove box door emblem at, was on the run when we went and got this Grand Prix. What was even weirder is when we went out to look at this Grand Sport, there was a building sitting there. We looked in the windows of the building, and there was a 70 Challenger sitting in the barn. And that car has recently hit the market as well, which is kind of weird when you see something that you saw through a window 30 years ago. And I know it's the car because it had these big weird Dodge decals on it. It's the same color and everything, and it was out in western Kansas. But it's a 440 Challenger, all original condition. But, I mean, it runs and drives, but it would need to be restored to be nice. But it is completely original. So, yeah, I believe, I don't even remember. I think that 65 Grand Sport was a hardtop. Like I said, that was probably 30 years ago. So it's weird. You tie all those little memories together of going to get that and remembering that that came from the same run, and it's been in my emblem box ever since, so. But it was a basic Grand Prix, 389 4-barrel automatic, nothing exotic, just a nice, clean, intact, original Grand Prix. Tony's kid's got a 63 Catalina, so he's familiar with them. Let's talk about the raffle real quick, and then let's get into the some auctions. Now, I think, and I'm not going to guarantee you, I will double check, to see the names. I'm going to read you who I got off. I printed some stuff, and I think I got them, but I need to double check payments. So if I don't read your name off, I may have missed you. But what I had, a couple from last week and a couple from this week. Tony Napoli, Lee Carr, Big Job, and Randall Ellenberg. Tony, I think it said extra for auction, but I think that meant extra for raffle. So I put that in the raffle, Tony. If you want to double check that for me, I would appreciate it. But I did put it in the raffle on that where it said extra. We'll do the drawing in 2 weeks. So it will be September 3rd is when the next drawing will be. For the badges, obviously first place is going to get 4 badges. The Epic Studebaker, because we all love those. As well as the Chevrolet, a pretty decent 30 Chevrolet, a cool Nash, and a Ford. And these are all original enamel badges. How much for the 2 pink triangle badges on the top shelf? Yeah. And the second and third names out of the can, the second name will have their choice between the Buick or the Overland Whippet. Third name will get the other one. So all those badges going to be given away in 2 weeks. And I will double check on shipments this week. Obviously, since I just got home yesterday, I didn't have a lot of time to get into it and stuff. That's right. Good point, Brian. We haven't done any of these badges yet tonight. We had so much stuff to talk about from this week, we completely forgot about all of these. Better squeeze some of these in. Instead of matter so I don't forget again. But anyway, that's who I've got in. Okay, perfect, Tony. Thanks. That's what I did. So that's what I figured. Glad we're on the same page there. But anyway. Oh, what's this can? Oh, yeah. You guys know what that means. Perfect, Leo. I'll be watching for it. Appreciate it. Time for a bonus drawing. All those names from this week and last week are in there right now. What do we got here? Lee Carr. We got Lee on a bonus drawing. Let's yank something out of the Fleet can for Lee. And as always, guys, these bonus drawings will ship with your next shipment. I don't ship these individually. Let's see what we got here. Let's see, Kenny. I will double check that, Kenny. Like I said, I may have missed it because I've been in such a hurry trying to get this stuff done. Yes, you are, Kenny. Yes, you are. I just didn't get that far. It was stuck to the last page. Kenny, yes, I do have you in. All right, let's see what Lee got. Take this one up a little too good. Chevy badge. Chevy badge. So, let's put Lee's name on there. Got that one for Lee. And as always, these are bonuses. So Lee's name right back into the big Buick oil can. So Lee is out for tonight on drawings. However, you'll still be eligible for bonus drawings next week and the main drawing. Alec didn't get his Canada bumper sticker. Okay, I'll double check that, Alec. I sometimes, especially that last week I was here, I was thrashing to ship stuff. I could have missed that, so I'll double check that, Alec. Make sure you get it too. As a matter of fact, since we're getting ready to do the auctions, I will just note that right now, Alec. I'll put it down here at the bottom to make sure to get that in your next box. So, okay. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get ready to roll into some auction stuff now. And as always, we'll do the same thing like all Mark's sighting in. Everybody's getting ready to go. Yeah, Pete, I'll try to remember that too. Let's see. Where was I at? As always, we'll hold up an item. We'll talk about that item. We'll show you any defects in that item. We'll talk about that car a little bit maybe. We'll give you some dimensions on that piece. As we're talking about it, if you want to throw a bid in out there to let me know that we've got some interest, please do. That way I know that we've got some interest in the piece and we're ready to go. After we get done with the description, we will see where the bids are at, and I will put it on a timer on my phone. Alec is ready to go too. So I'll get it on here. We will go 2 minutes on each item once we start the timer. I will tell you when 1 minute has passed. I will tell you when 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. Reason being, as always, there is a delay. I don't know what your delay is, and it will vary. Depends on your internet provider, your device, cell phone, smart TV, PC, tablet, things like that. So I will tell you when a minute has passed, when a minute 30 has passed. I will also, for the first few items, I will announce all bids as I see them, even if it is not the high bidder, just so you guys have some idea of what I'm seeing, so you can kind of work that with your delays. And that's right, Mark. No change, full dollar amounts. I don't care if you just bump it $1, just full dollar amounts. It just makes it much simpler as I'm trying to watch comments popping up to try to sort something out and change. If I got a full dollar amount, I know that's what I'm looking at. So we'll tick along on these, and I will tell you when those times are coming up. And I just like right now, I would announce 1 minute has now passed, and then I will announce when 1:30 has passed as well. Non-U.S. bidders, you're more than welcome to play. However, you will have to figure out how to get me paid, which typically would be a wire, and there are fees associated with a wire, and you will be responsible for non-U.S. shipping. Reason being, this thing kind of feeds itself, and if we spend a fortune trying to ship, 1 or 2 packages out of the country, it kind of ruins the whole thing for everybody. So you're more than welcome to play, but you will have those situations to deal with as well, and I'll work with you however I can. Check, money order, Western Union, PayPal, friends and family only for payment. If you've got any questions about anything, or if you want to play along and you're not sure what's going on, but there's something you want to bid on, go ahead and bid on it. And then my number is in the description for these videos. Just call me tomorrow. Tony's here with us. So just give me a shout. If you bid on something, you get it bought, you're not sure what to do, call me tomorrow. I'll walk you through it. No big deal. We'll get it taken care of. We'll get it shipped to you. Everything. I've got one bigger toy tonight. If we do it, we may add a little bit of shipping too. But other than that, most of the stuff is all going to be pretty much shipping included. So bear that in mind. If we do this one bigger toy tonight, I will announce it separately on that. That being said, let's get rolling. We'll start off with a few smaller, lower dollar items to get everybody in the groove and see what we've got going, and check your delays. Get a few things squared up here and ready to go. And like I said, got a few things from this weekend, but not a lot. But there will be a lot of cool stuff being worked in here to come. And we're going to start off with another pair of these miniature license plates. I've got various years of these. We've done a few of them. They're not high dollar items, but they're cute little boogers. These were done by, was it the DAV, I think, on these little license plates. This is a red set. I'm not even sure on the year. SG, Sedgwick County. Cute little boogers. And let's go ahead and roll on these. These are dinky little things, but they're cute. 1 3/8 by like 5/8 tall. So in fact, let's do something. Let's even just do this. We're going to do 2 of them. These are 1963s. Same deal. These were the DAV keychains, guaranteed postage if you lost your keys and put them in there with it. Let's do a pair of them. since they're kind of tiny little things, we're going to do a pair of these. The 63s are smaller. Like I said, these down here are the 63s. I'm not sure of the year on the red ones. Leo at 10, but we're going to just do a pair of them since they're kind of tiny little boogers. And we're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling. Tweedly D said 5. I've got Leo at 10 first, Tweedly D at 5. But I want to read all those comments so that you guys can figure out where your delay is at. Mike at 12. Tractor Mike at 12. Michael Glagola's on with us. Leo at 13. X15. Tractor Mike 15. One minute has passed. Tractor Mike at 15 at the 1 minute mark. Alec at 16. And there's the minute 30 mark. Yes, Kenny, SG is Wichita. Sedgwick. Leo at 17. Coming out of the wire. Leo at 17. Few seconds left. And that'll do it. Leo at 17. All right, let's do a few matchbooks. These aren't even automotive related, but the graphics are awesome. Well, I guess this one does have cars on it, so it is. This one actually is a picture, which is crazy. They had an actual picture on a matchbook, and this is 40s, probably, maybe early 50s. For PT's Drive-In, check out that actual picture on this matchbook, and check out these cars. The back one says, try our High Boy hamburger. Twice as good, twice as big, twice as good at PT's Drive-In. The next one is for the Toddle House. Good as the best at the Toddle House restaurant. And they must have been franchised. Travis is here. And one more, once again, great artwork for the Grand Cafe in Phoenix, Arizona. So these are cafes and diners with awesome graphics. And you're getting all three of them one-shot deal. Mark at 15. Kenny said he's never been there. Alec at 5. I've got Mark at 15 over here. We are on the timer. I did hit it right there. X-Ray at 19. Mark at 21 as we hit the 1 minute mark. Mark at 21. And there's the minute 30 mark. We passed the minute 30 mark at 21. Ticking away, coming down to the end. Mark at 21. Are you going to snipe him here right at the last second? No, he's good to go. He tried to cover himself just in case, but it didn't happen until afterwards, so we got him at 21. Mark at 21. He tried to cover himself, but it came in. Luckily, it came in after the 2 minute mark. So, because if you bump yourself to protect yourself before the time's up, we got to take that. So, how about some license plates? We've been doing a few of these in the past. Brand new. I told you I got that box of Nebraska stuff, and they're all weird plates. Dealer plates, government plates, trailer plates, all kinds of weird stuff. They've got some age to them because they are heavy embossed steel. They're all brand new. And this is a match set of local plates. And I don't know what local means, but I don't know if it was like a farm truck you couldn't take out of the county or what. But Nebraska Local 8, number 44. It is a match set. There are 2 plates in here, still sealed in the bag. I don't know. I mean, these have some age to them. I don't think they're 50 or 60 years old, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're 20 or 30 years old because these are heavy embossed steel plates. So Jeff at Steel Ponies, Jeff at 15, Leo at 10. You are going to get the pair of them. Local Union. I don't think it was Local Union. X-Ray at 20. Leo at 20. I had X-Ray first at 20. I think it was a local, like local in a certain vicinity. You couldn't take them like maybe out of whatever region 8 was. I don't know. Steel Ponies Jeff at 25. But they are a pair. They are brand new. They are reflective. They have the reflective material in them. They're brand new. They're just kind of sprung a little bit. Alec at 30 on Facebook. City Plate, says Alex. I've got Alec at 30 on Facebook. One minute has passed. There's the 1 minute mark. Scott says Missouri had solid blue plates that were farm local use only. Okay. Alec at 30 on Facebook. And there's the minute 30 mark. Minute 30 has passed. Leo at 31. Coming down to the wire. Leo at 31. A few seconds left. The video's going to snipe it. Let's see where we're at. Leo's at 31. And that did it. Leo at 31. How about a can? Let's try a can. This is a steel quart. Steel seam, no barcode. A little bit rough, but still great colors. all metal, old school can, small holes punched on the top, but not bad. On this Conoco Par motor oil. Now, I don't know what Par motor oil stands for. It's a little different, though. It's a gray can with a red button on it with the Par motor on it, the Conoco logo up in the upper corner. Travis at 10. 2 small holes in the top. Steel Ponies, Jeff at 10. Bottom is not punched. Tweedledee at 15. But Alec missed it. He had to go get another beverage. I was watching for you, Alec. I thought you were coming back in. X-Ray at 16. It has the Conoco stamp in the bottom of it. It's got some scuffs and scratches up here, but still displays well. The original metal seam here. No barcodes on it. On this Conoco metal Par quart. X-Ray at 16. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. X-Ray at 16. Dennis at 25. Alec at 20, but I just had Dennis at 25 right before that. That's right. It's just Par oil, not subpar. Good point, X-Ray. Dennis at 25. Bosun badge. Kind of matches the triangle. Dennis at 25. And there's the 1 minute mark. I have not seen Big Job tonight. Alex had questioned if it was subpar as well. As of right now, though, we've got Dennis at 25 as we hit the minute 30 mark. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. A lot of action on this can right out of the gate. We're coming down to the end. If anybody's going to jump in, Dennis at 25. X-Ray at 26. X-Ray at 26 is the high bid as this thing is ticking away. Leo at 27. Few seconds left, but there was a lot of activity on this can. Dennis at 31, right at the last second, like at 159. I mean, there was like no wiggle room on that, Dennis. But you got it in there at 31. That was Dennis. Don't cut him that close again because you'll miss it. I mean, it was that tight. But it is a good looking can, so. All right. How about a horn button? Old school IH. Check that thing out. Bill Disc is back. This actually has the IH stamped in it. This was mid-50s. These were just a basic horn button. There was nothing fancy about them. I don't know if these were painted. If I was going to put this in my case, what I would do would be paint the IH white and red like they were. This thing would look super cool. Steel Ponies Jeff at 10. These were a twist-on deal on the back. And it is about 3 inches, just a tick under 3 inches across. On the IH button, I've got Jeff at 10. We are on the timer. I'd say it's plastic of some sort. I'd say it's some sort of plastic. But it's kind of a hard type plastic. It's a weird deal. I don't really know for sure what they made these out of. Tweedledee at 15. A few little imperfections in it, a few flaws in it. But like I said, Tractor Mike at 15. I've got Tweedledee at 15 over here first. I'd repaint the I and the H red and white, put it in the case, and I think it would look killer. Tweedledee at 15. Tractor Mike at 17. And 1 minute has now passed. Tractor Mike at 17. We'll give you an Auburn badge here while we're ticking along here as we're coming up on the minute 30 mark, just about there. And there it goes. We're past the minute 30 mark. Tractor Mike at 17. Pete at 22. I've got Pete at 22 with a few seconds left to go. Bill Disk at 47. Bill Disk at 47, a few seconds left. And that does it. Bill Disk at 47. Bill was serious about that one. Bill must be a good international fan. Yeah, Bill. That's right, Bill. And sometimes that works. Because even if somebody was thinking about sniping there in the last few seconds, they probably didn't see any point in it. So, all right. Where's our badge fans at? This is cool. This is really cool. We're gonna have to have a Hudson badge and an Auburn badge before we sell this next badge, because this is a beautiful badge. I know we got badge fans out there, because I know there's some of you guys who are not quite as dumb as me, but you know, when it comes to stuff, you don't always make good decisions. This thing's a beauty. Check that out. Look at the shine on that. This is the medium-sized Buick. These came in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large. This is the medium of them. Does have a scratch over here. But other than that, I mean, amazing colors. The button on the back is broken off. Tony at 15. We see it. Yeah, Pete's excited. Yeah, we can see where it actually had the Buick stamped in it. X-ray at 25 before they did the enameling on it. Alex at 40. This is, let me give you a dimension on this thing. Alec at 25. I've got Alex at 40 on YouTube. It's about 2 1/4. That counts the tail of the B and the tip of the K. It's about 2 1/4. Randy at 50 and about 1 3/4 inches tall, roughly. So there it is. Amazing 20s era Buick badge. Randy at 50, Brian Dispatch at 50. I've got Randy at 50 first. Let's get this thing rolling. Randy at 50 is our high bidder at this point. As we roll, you're going to have another Hudson badge to think about this thing, because it's beautiful. You can see the shine and the enameling and the blue and the white. Brian Dispatch, 60. Alex was at 55, then Brian came around at 60 right after that. So Mark says this is going to get interesting. Yeah, that's right, X-ray. Slow the Hudson badge or someone will Buick. 1 minute has passed. We're halfway through. Brian Dispatch at 60. Leo, 61. And there's the minute 30. Minute 30 has passed. Carl Discoverer, 62. Brian Dispatch, 67. We're past the minute 30 mark. We're coming down on this one. Brian Dispatch at 67. A little bit of time left, but it's ticking away fast. Brian at 67. Carl Discover, 77. And that does it. Carl Discover. Alec came in at 77, just 2 seconds too late. Carl Discoverer at 77. Alec was right there, just 2 seconds too late. Carl Discoverer came in at about 158. Alec was at 202. So Carl Discoverer at 77. And I think that's your first win. I don't remember you snagging anything before, so. But it is a great piece, no doubt about it. Well, that was fun. What do we got next? Something for the Chevy fans. And this thing is cool. It's dinged up. It's beat up a little bit. But we haven't squeezed any caps in yet tonight. And this is a good one. This is for our Chevy fans, no doubt about it. Nice, bright, shiny, awesome wall hanger. This was the deluxe chrome hubcap for, I think, 57 to 59 Chevrolet half-ton pickups. Check these things out. Obviously whammoed here. You can see where it caught the sand and gravel over the years, where the shine is better down in the groove than it is on the top. But it is a cool piece. 4 bow ties stamped around it in these little raised areas. I mean, a fairly intricate cap when you think about it. This is a chrome cap on a metal base. Metal back is pretty much intact on this one. Leo starting us off at 10. You know, you can leave it the way it was. You could repaint the bow ties. It looks like they were black originally. I'd probably paint them blue if I were going to hang it on the wall just to make it stand out a little better. But a cool cap, not one you see very often. I'm sure you probably buy new ones, but new ones don't have a story when they're hanging on the wall in your man cave. So 57 to 59, I think, is what this one covered. I think 60 was different. Just a tick under 10 inches, about 9 3/4, 9 7/8 in diameter on this Chevy cap. So Leo starting us off at 10. Let's get this thing rolling and see who's interested in a Chevy cap. Sam at 15 on Facebook. Carl Discover at 15 as well. I got Sam first on Facebook at 15. That's a good idea, Leo. Use fingernail polish, or sometimes I'll use model paint when you repaint some of this stuff. Sam at 15 on Facebook as we're coming up on the 1 minute mark. And there it is. There's the 1 minute mark. Mark at 20. Carl Discoverer, 21. $1:30 has passed. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. Carl Discoverer at 21. Sam at 21 also, but I've got Carl Discoverer over here first at 21. Sam at 22. Sam at 22. We're ticking down on this one. We got a few seconds left. Mark at 23. Leo at 23. I had Mark first. Pete at 25, and that does it. Pete snuck. A couple of you guys are cutting this pretty close. Pete at 25. Now Sam at 25. I had Pete at 25. Was it hit 200 on my timer? So Pete's who I had when I hit the 200 at 25. Sam was just a hair after that, and then several more bids after that. So That was fun too. What else we got? We got lots of cool stuff yet tonight. How about another horn button? We like horn buttons, right? We like cool horn buttons with cool graphics and nice shiny chrome. I thought we did. And this one may look a little familiar to you. At about 3 1/8 inches in diameter. Yes, it's the 1967 Chevy Caprice horn button. How about we sell this one? Anybody like this? Anybody like this from the badge segment? Oh, and by the way, I'm not selling the Willys badge. It's the only one I got. So don't get excited about that one. But we will sell the Caprice. We're going to give you an Auburn badge, too, while we're thinking about it. Mark at 15. We did talk about this a little bit earlier. It does still have the mounting nut on the back as well as the rubber mounting ring. The depth in the plastic, the Caprice emblem in the middle. All nice, shiny piece. We all saw it a little bit ago. Mark starting us off at 15 on the 67 Caprice horn button. Goes right in with your emblems and badges. These horn buttons are great. In fact, a lot of times horn buttons have even better graphics than sometimes some of the emblems do. So we've got Mark at 15. Leo, 16. Leo at 16. Maybe you guys didn't like the horn button as much as I thought you would. As we're coming up on the 1 minute mark. 1 minute has passed. Leo at 16 on the Caprice button. Mark at 19. And there's the minute 30 mark. More fireworks and hearts. Love that, guys. Mark at 19 as we're taking away on the Caprice button. Almost done. Mark at 19. Few seconds left. Pete at 30. And that does it. Pete gave himself a couple of extra seconds. That worked out a lot better. Pete at 30. Okay. Who wants some fresh meat? Alec at 24 popped up over here just a little bit too late. We had Pete at 30, so. Who wants some fresh meat from the Springfield swap meet? I've got a few pieces laying here that I did get ready. Didn't have much time, but I wanted to get a few things mixed in. So this stuff will be in the next video. You'll see it probably in some way else. Some of the small stuff will be a little tough to see, but this stuff will be in the video from that we put out this week from the finds from the finds from the Springfield swap meet. So fresh meat from the meat. That's right, Brian. We're going to start off with a super cool Ford emblem from the 30s. This is an original Ford 85 horse with a big V. I want to say this is 37, 38-ish. Not totally sure on this. Check this thing out. Big V, Ford 85 horse. Stud mount on the back. X-ray at 20. See, it's a little scuffed and tarnished on the back. Still looks pretty good on the front. Steel Ponies Jeff, 25. Cool looking original piece. Let me give you the dimension on this, then we'll get it on the timer. Mark at 30. Overall length from the longest point to the tip is a little over 6 inches. Excuse me. About 6 1/4 from here to here. Steel Ponies Jeff at 32. We are on the timer, and it's about an inch and 5/8 tall. So a little over 6 inches on the Ford 85. Steel Ponies Jeff at 32. We are rolling. It is nice and flat. Cool display piece. Original 30s era. 85 horse Ford badge. As we're coming up on the 1 minute mark, Steel Ponies Jeff at 32 as we hit the 1 minute mark on the old school Ford V8, 85 horsepower. You can see it kind of looks like a V8 with the V and the 8 there, and then the 85 horse and the Ford logo in it. Cool piece. Of course, back then Ford put V8 on about everything. Of course, they were one of the people that really started making the V8 popular, so they used it everywhere. Steel Ponies, Jeff Taylor, 32, as we hit the minute 30 mark. There's 1 minute, 30 seconds. Steel Ponies, Jeff at 32. Kenny at 33. Steel Ponies, Jeff at 34. We got a few seconds left, but this one's ticking away. Is anybody going to snipe it? Pete at 40. Alec at 40. Tweely at 35. I had Pete at 40 first. And that does it. Pete at 40. I had Pete at 40, then Alec at 40, and now I got Mark at 41, but I had the Steel Ponies Jeff at 45. But at the 2 minute mark, Pete at 40 is what I had. So that's what we've got to go with. But it is a cool piece, that's for sure. What's up next? These next couple pieces are all going to be fresh meat from Springfield. We're going to do 4 pieces in a row, 3 more left out of Springfield, and then I got 1 more we'll squeeze in a little bit later. Up next, how about a grease cap? I got a couple of the more common grease caps out. I didn't have time to dig through the box, but this is fresh material. Just got it in from the Springfield swap meet, probably late teens, early 20s. Really not too beat up, which is amazing for one of these grease caps. This was a metal one. It wasn't aluminum, but the logo is awesome on it, on this super cool Chevrolet grease cap. Obviously, we see the hexagon on it so it would come off. It's a little smaller than some of the other ones we've done, but it is nice, crisp, clear on the Chevrolet logo. Kenny at 20, Jeff at 10, Tony at 20. I had Kenny at 20 first. 2 3/8 across the back, where it's a little wider. It is threaded on the inside because these were throughed on. Steel Ponies, Jeff at 25. Across the front, it's about 1 3/4 inches across the hexagon. So a little under 2 inches here, a little over 2 inches on the back here. On this, like I said, I think it's late teens, early 20s era. So I'm sure it's at least 100 years old on this Chevrolet grease cap. Let's get this thing rolling on the timer. Steel Ponies, Jeff at 25. Kenny at 27. Sam at 28. Sam on Facebook at 28. Kenny at 29. Tony at 30. Alex at 30. I've got Tony at 30 first. Definitely had some sort of a plating on it, which is mostly gone. Sam at 31. But there again, it's got to be I'm sure it's 100 years old. Alex at 35. Sam at 32, Tony at 33, but I've got Alex at 35. We just passed the 1 minute mark as well in the middle of all those bids coming in. But I do have Alex at 35, Tony at 36. And there is 1:30. There's the minute 30 mark. Tony at 36. We're coming down to the wire on this one. We got a little bit of time left, but it's getting close. And I don't know what's going to happen for the way people were going on this thing. Anyway, we're coming down to the wire with the last few seconds left. Tony at 36, watching all the comments. Kenny at 44. And that does it. Kenny at 44. Cool little piece. All right. Whew. That one got kind of interesting. I think this next emblem is going to get kind of interesting as well. We've sold a couple of these in the past, but I haven't had one in a long time. I found one again at the Springfield Swap Meet. I knew when we sold the other two, you guys loved them. So I went ahead and grabbed this one. It's an amazing piece. It's got just the right look to it. A little bit of, discoloration in the chrome, nice and straight, but a beautiful piece. Awesome display piece, or possibly a belt buckle. Tony's just going to bid 10. He don't even care. And you're perfectly fine at that, Tony. Other than the fact that it's not a Pontiac piece, but it's still epic. It's still a great looking piece on this Ford 95 horse oval. This was like 38, 39 truck, hood side panel, 85 horse. It is all stamped in there. You can see where it's embossed, chrome plated. Tweedledee at 20. Steel Ponies Jeff at 20. I Tweedledee first. Mark at 30. Kenny at 15. But we got Mark at 30. X-Ray and Tony both at 25. 3 3/8 high, 5.5 long. About 5.5 inches long. 3 3/8 here. Tweedledee at 35 is the high bidder out of all those bids coming in. There's tons of bids pouring in. Tony at 38. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the timer. Great looking piece. Not perfect chrome. It's got some slight discoloration in it, but there again, it's just a great looking piece. It's got a great story, and it's a good looking badge. Tony at 38 is my high bidder. We are on the timer, but we're just getting started. Let's give you an Auburn badge to think about it for a minute. I got to kind of keep looking ahead here, keep things lined out. Tony at 38 as of right now. Kenny at 40. So everything slowed down, got real quiet here as we approach the 1 minute mark. And there she goes. There's 1 minute. I've got Kenny at 40. I don't know what's going to happen on this one. These things are awesome. Basically about the size of your hand. Tony's loading. Tony's chambering around right now as we speak. So there's a minute 30. 1 minute, 30 seconds gone. Steel Ponies Jeff at 45. Mark at 48. Tony at 46. I've got Mark at 48. We're not quite down to the end, but we're getting close, guys. Mark at 48. A few seconds left. Mark at 48. Kenny at 49. Tweedledee at 50, and that does it. Whew, that was tight. Boom, boom, boom. Bill Disk at 53, but he was about 3 seconds too late. Tweedly D at 50 is who we had at the 2-minute mark. Well, that one was fun. One more piece from this weekend, fresh meat from the swap meet. And then it was a very close finish, Mike. There's no doubt about that. That's why I was watching so close. Keeping an eye here and an eye here, watching that timer to see where we were at 2 minutes. And then we haven't had those other bids come in just right after that. So one more piece from the swap meet, and then we'll squeeze one more in after a while. Another grease cap. This is another probably teens era. Not a real rare one, but Tony's just 10. Let's go. Tony says, we got cool stuff tonight. Good, Tony. I try. I got a lot of great stuff from this weekend. We're going to get mixed in too. So, but like I said, a lot of this stuff I already had ready. So some of this stuff is new. This piece here included, not a real rare one, but there again, it's over 100 years old. So to see one in this shape still looks pretty cool. Something else exciting for our Ford fans on another grease cap, probably Model T, but look at the patina on this thing. Look at the age. This has got to be teens. So probably 105 to 110 years old, I'm guessing. Kind of a domed cap with the hexagon on it. Threaded on the inside. Okay, I better keep up with bids here. Steel Ponies, Mark, Kenny, all at 20. Tony at 40. Okay, Tony at 40 is my high bidder at this point on the little Ford cap. Let me give you some dimensions, and then we'll get this thing on the timer. Across the back, it's about 2 3/8. Across the front of the hex, it's about 1 5/8 inches across the front of the hex. And it's about 2 1/4 tall. So like I said, not an extremely rare one, but just an awesome look. Kenny at 44. We are on the timer. We are ticking away. Coming up on the 1 minute mark, I've got Kenny at 44. One minute has passed. Nut Farm had 40. That was probably an old bid. Tony was hoping for a miracle tonight. Everybody's tough. Yep. Kenny at 44. And there's the minute 30 mark. Kenny at 44 is my high bidder. Mark at 46. Ticking away, getting close to the end here. Mark at 46. We got a few seconds left. Anybody going to snipe this one? Mark at 46. Alec at 55. And that got it done. Woo! I don't know how Alec snuck that one in, but man, that was like at 158. Holy cow, Alec, like boom. Like a hard right on that one. Alec at 55, right at the end at about 158. Sneaks in on Facebook. Rand will come in at 50 over here as well, but Alec at 55 is who we had at the end there. Yeah, it is cool, Alec. It just has the right look to it with its age. All right. let's keep moving along. We haven't done many plates tonight, so I've got some more plates worked in so don't get too worried about you license plate guys. I've got a few more plate auctions coming up, a few more badges. So we'll let's get a couple of plates worked in right now. A couple of my favorite license plates, actually. This is actually a set I had planned on keeping, but then I found a set that was a little bit better than this, which means I'm going to sell these to you. And I said, yes, I said set because they're consecutive numbers of one of my favorite Kansas plates, the wheat plate. Came out in 1981, was used throughout the 80s, which for me, that's when I was a little kid, so that's what I really remember. Amazing condition on these. This went from 1981 to 1988. These do have 88 stickers on them. They have the 81 stamped in them. Dickinson County, letter V, 805. Yes, Mark, we've got a couple of I got one more hubcap coming tonight, too. And 806. Check these things out. Like I said, I was going to keep these. They're that nice. And then I found a set a little better than these, believe it or not. These were painted on the front. They're aluminum on the back. Tony's starting us off at 10. The 81 is embossed in it. And then you put year stickers on them as you use them. These were used up until 88. So they are great. They were used because they had screw marks in them, but they do look great. I mean, you can see the reflection in them. I mean, I can see the tags in the, I can literally see, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, I can see the tag number in the reflection from the computer of the tag, on the tag. That's how good the paint is on these things. That's right, Bill. That's why I was going to keep these, and I found a set that was, I think they were about as good, but I don't know if they were lower numbered or what. But I found a set that I wanted to keep more than these, so I thought I'd give you guys a shot at these. I got X-Ray at 28, but they are great looking plates. Let's get them on the timer. We've got X-Ray at 28 consecutive numbers. Like I said, it's probably just because I grew up on these tags in the 80s. This is what I remember. The wheat is just painted on them. Tweedledee at 30. Let's give him the old test of the timer. I don't think we're going to have a problem seeing the timer in these if I can get it at the right angle of the dangle. Yep, right there. Plain as day. I don't know if you can see it on Facebook or not. Plain as day, we can watch the timer in the license plate because the paint is that shiny and that reflective as we hit 30 seconds on the timer on the plate. So I hope you guys can see that. I can see it in the screen, so I hope that means you can. Right under the wheat on the lower plate, you can actually see the timer ticking away. Tweedledee at 30. And there, as you guys can hopefully see, is the 1 minute mark. X-Ray at 31. And Tractor Mike says, I remember that from the 80s because I'm old. But you're 6 months older than me. So, ha! I've always got that. You're still 6 months older than me. Yeah, I said it. Tweedledee at 35. Tony at 38. Mark at 38. There's the minute 30 mark. Tony at 38. Same back to you, buddy. Mark at 40. You guys on YouTube can't see the symbols that Tractor Mike's sending me right now. So, in other words, you guys are young, says Kenny. Tweedledee at 41. Ticking away. This is a good buy at 41, and we only got a few seconds left. Tweedledee at 41. And that did it. Tweedledee at 41. Mark came back at 45, just a few seconds too late. Tweedledee at 41. Probably should have kept those for that. Those are cool. Michael at 44. Tony at 44. Holy cow, there was a whole bunch of bids hung up on that one. You got lucky on that one, Tweedledee. Because you almost got sniped 3 times and you get snuck in by a few seconds. And we've got a few more plates coming up yet tonight. So I kind of forgot to do some plates earlier. We did one earlier, then I forgot to mix a few in. So I got a few more we'll squeeze in here at the end. But let's do another can. This has got a couple dents in it, but this is a 60s era, maybe early 70s. And as you guys know, I love these cans. Definitely one of my favorite cans. The factory can's always hard to find. GM Positraction Axle Gear Lubricant Can. Great looking can. It's dented over here. It is a metal quart. There's the factory seam. It was drained from the bottom. Bottom still looks good. Top has a little surface rust on it. Multi-purpose gear lubricant, specially formulated for year-round use in Positraction and conventional rear gear axles. Not for use in engine. Distributed by General Motors Parts Division, General Motors Corporation. Net contents, 32 fluid ounces. Has a group number and part number on it since this was a factory GM can. Tony at 10. All original paint, black, light blue GM logo, red on the sides. Tony at 10 on the quart GM can. Let's get this thing rolling. Great looking can. I love to collect this era of GM cans. There again, this is stuff I remember. So these are probably some of my favorite cans are the GM cans of this era. Tony at 10. Dennis at 16. Was there an oil can of this design? I'm not sure. Kenny got one of the last ones. I knew we'd sold one of these in the past, so I'm glad you got one, Kenny. I don't know if they did regular oil in this design or not. I see a lot of specialty stuff, gear oil, top end cleaner, things like that. 1 minute has passed. Tony at 20 as we hit the 1 minute mark. Tony at 20 as we come up on the minute 30, and there's the minute 30 mark. Dennis at 21. We got a few seconds left as this one's ticking away. Mark at 22. Mark at 22 as this one ticks away, and that does it. Mark at 22. Tony came back at 23, just a little bit too late. Mark at 22. And then Tony at 23, Leo at 25. Mark got lucky on that one. There was a bunch of shots in there. Michael Brown's on with us. Glad you made it tonight, Michael. How about another hubcap? This is another super cool cap. This is one, it would be debatable as to what you do with the center logo. I would probably paint it. I did not paint this one to let you guys decide what you wanted to do with it. But you paint this center symbol, hang it on a wall, and it's super cool. We're going to sell you next on the block? Apparently not. She jumped right back down. But this cap is super cool. And it's an oddball. It's an odd duck, one you don't see very often. It's a good-looking cap for your Kaiser. This is a late 40s, maybe early 50s Kaiser. This was a steel cap that had a chrome cap over the top of it. This one is really in pretty decent shape for its age. A few dings and dents, but it looks pretty good. This is all actually made on top of it like a bottle cap. That's true. The Bison badge was a Kaiser. That's true. That is correct. Tony at 15. It is raised cap. These serrated edges around the edge here like a bottle cap. Like I said, if you painted that K, I don't know, green maybe. I usually use green. Had green background on the Bison badges. Alan at 20. Brandon's back on with us. Glad you're here. But paint the K green, hang that thing on your wall, and everybody's going to ask, what the heck is that thing? That's what's cool about some of this stuff. Let's get it on the timer. I've got Alan at 20 on the Kaiser cap. I'll give you some dimensions on this thing while we're waiting here as we're ticking away. It's about 10 inches in diameter. There is some rust on the back of the cap on the structure part of it, but for a wall hanger, not going to affect anything. Alan at 20. As we're rolling on down on this one, Alan at 20. Working our way towards the 1 minute mark. We've got a few cool things left to go yet tonight, so. And there's the 1 minute mark. Alan at 20. Yep, those were some pretty cool Ford pieces, number one, that's for sure. And there's the minute 30 mark. Alan at 20. Thanks, Kenny says hit the like button. Michael says, what did I miss? We got about a handful of auction items left, Michael, and that's about it. Mark at 23. Tony at 22. Michael at 25. Ticking away, coming down to the wire on this one. Few seconds left. Michael at 25. Leo at 27, and that does it. Leo snuck in at 27. Michael came back at 30. Tony at 26. Leo at 27 is who I had at the 2 minute mark. All right, let's catch one more grease cap. This is one that I already had in the box from last week that we didn't get to, and I think we did one of these a while back, and we never did figure out what it was, but I think it's a Chrysler because it's got the big C on it. I don't remember who got the last one. I think we had done one of these. I already had this one in the box. Tony at 15 on the C cap. This is aluminum. It's kind of banged up over here. It's a good-looking cap because it's kind of raised up on the side. It's got the outline around here, the hex shape on it, the big C. It is threaded on the backside on the C cap. Like I said, I think this was Chrysler, but not 100% sure. About 3 1/4 and 2 1/4, about 3 1/4 outside diameter, about 2 1/4 across the hex. Tony at 15. Let's get this thing rolling. On the little grease cap with a C on it. C for cool. That's another good way to put it, Bill. The Nut Farm at 20. And I tell you what, you grease cap fans, man, this buy, like I said, almost 50 of them this weekend, and there is some cool stuff. C for Chad. That's true as well. Late teens Chrysler C is what number one found. Thanks, number one. Appreciate that. According to number one, what he's seeing on the internet, late teens Chrysler. 1 minute has passed, so a little over 100 years old. So I guess it deserves a few dingies and whammos at being a little over 100 years old. So C for cash. Nut Farm at 20 as we come up on the minute 30 mark. There it is. There's the minute 30 mark. Nut Farm at 20. $100 old equals $100. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get quite that far, but Tony at 22. Mark at 23. Few seconds left on this one. Mark at 23. Nut Farm at 25. And that does it. Randall, the Nut Farm at 25. Mark came back at 26, just a few seconds too late. Nut Farm at 25. Brian Dispatch has to jump off. Glad you were here with us tonight. Next piece, amazing horn button. Amazing horn button. Like, this was one I had to even think about selling, but I guess I'm going to sell it because I already opened my mouth and I've already got it on the list. But it's a beautiful piece. It's marked 1956. I don't know if that's right, but it's right in that vicinity. I do know that. On this beautiful, beautiful Buick horn button. Look at this thing. Look at the depth in that. It is a domed button. But look at the depth and look at the color. Tony at 25 on that Buick symbol. Has a metal backing plate on it. You can see in the middle of the backing plate where that is all cast into the plastic. Mark at 30. About 2.5 in diameter all the way across. X-ray at 32. And this is all smooth. That's all that ridging and all the logo and everything is all in the plastic, all deep in the plastic. Looks like a disco ball. Good call, Tony. Let's get this thing boogieing. X-ray at 32 on the gorgeous deep color Buick horn button. Tony at 36. How about an Auburn badge while we're thinking about it? Michael at 35, but I've got Tony at 36 first. As we're coming up on the 1 minute mark. Michael at 38. And there's 1 minute. I've got Michael at 38. Mark's watch where I get to watch for the daggers. Michael at 38. Everybody's gotten real quiet. There's the minute 30 mark. Tony at 40. There's the 1 minute 30 second mark. Has passed. Tony at 40. Coming down to the wire. A few seconds left. Tony at 40. No other. Mark at 46. And that does it. Mark at 46. Kind of thought there may have been a few more shots there at the end, but there was, Michael came in at 43. It just popped up. But Mark at 46 is who we had at the 2 minute mark. Beautiful piece. Absolutely beautiful piece. All right, let's catch one more badge and a couple more license plates, and then we're going to call it a night for tonight's auctions. Where's our badge people at? Another super cool badge. We've sold one of these in the past, but I don't think it was this good. But this one is sharp. It looks great, and I think you guys are going to dig it. Because we all love, in fact, let's just have another Hudson badge to think about it before we get to the, let's get an Auburn badge too to get prepped for this next badge. You guys are excited about the Buick badge. This thing is a great one, too. It's its sister company. Tony's like, I'm already in at 20. I don't blame you, Tony. Tony's in at 20. We ain't even showed it to you yet. On this super cool, it is dinged at the top, but it didn't really affect much of the enameling on this Oldsmobile. Probably late 20s, early 30s. Dented right here at the top, which chips some of the black, but the gold and the burgundy is all still here. I hope you guys can see the detail in the tooling of this little piece about the way this logo is made with the wings and everything all in it. Great looking badge. The button is gone from the back where it was pressed on. Like I said, I think we sold one of these in the past, but it wasn't near this good. I think it was missing some of the red and the yellow. 1 3/4 in diameter on the little Oldsmobile button. Late 20s probably. Tony starts just going in at 40, trying to knock everybody out right out of the gate. So let's get this thing rolling. Like I said, it is dented here at the top, but this here, your money shot, looks great. You can touch up a little bit of the black, but Tony's trying to shut everybody down right out of the gate by bumping him up to a $40 bid. Let's see if it works, Tony. You never know. Kevin's got an early morning. Glad you were here tonight, Kevin. Michael at 43. No, it's regular Oldsmobile. Michael on Facebook at 43. Tony at 48. And there's 1 minute. 1 minute's passed. Told you it was a cool piece. Tony at 48. Almost to that minute 30 mark. What's going to happen with it? There's the minute 30 mark. Tony at 48. We're coming down to the wire. Michael at 49. Mark at 50. Mark at 50 with a few seconds left. We're coming out of the wire. Mark at 50. Tony at 52. And that does it. Tony at 52. All right. We've had a fun night tonight. Let's catch a couple of more license plates, and then we're going to call it a night for the auctions. This next plate is a single. It's used, but it wasn't used very much, and it didn't sit outside very long, especially for a 60-year-old plate. 1963 Kansas. This is a white background with green letters. It is used. I can see where it had screws in it. But it had to have been on something that sat inside, because look at the condition of this thing. Just amazing. It's got a few scuffs and scratches up here in some of the letters, but look at that white. Look how bright that white is. The backside of this thing looks almost brand new as well. It had screws in it up here. Leo at 15. Mark at 20, but a beautiful plate. OB, Osborne County, 3164, 1963 for a 60-year-old license plate. I think it's looking pretty sharp. You see the sheen on the white, the nice on the green. Michael at 24. I've got Michael at 24 on Facebook. We are on the timer on this thing. We just kicked it off, so we are ticking away. Michael at 24. We're going to do another license plate auction after this, and then we're going to call the auctions for the night. So this one and one more to go. Michael at 24 on Facebook. How about a Hudson badge to think about things while we're sitting here admiring this beautiful 60-year-old license plate? And we'll give you an Auburn badge as well. Kind of in the mood for Auburn Core Duesenberg since we went riding around in a Duesenberg the other day. Mark at 25. Coming up on the 1 minute mark. And there it is. 1 minute has passed. Mark at 25. Leo at 26 as we're coming up on the minute 30. And there it is. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. Leo at 26 is the high bidder. Tony at 28. As we're coming down to the wire, Tony at 28, Mark at 30, Michael at 30. I had Mark first at 30. Mark at 30. Few seconds left to go. And that does it. Mark at 30. Just beat Michael with his $30 bid. Mark was just a second ahead of Michael. Mark at 30. All right, one more plate auction, then we're going to call the auctions for tonight. I need to get some of these for real. I'm not sure how to do it, but I would sure like to get them. This is another pair of those Nebraska plates, brand new metal stamp plates in the bag. And it may do that, Michael. On my screen, Mark popped up about a second before you did. And all I can go by is what my screen is feeding me, and that's what it shows me. Because on my screen, I show him right. I mean, literally, I saw him pop up, then I saw you pop up. And I do know sometimes you guys do see different things than what I do. So one more plate auction for the night. I need to figure out how to get some of these for real. I don't know how to get them for real, but I would sure like to have some. These are some more of those new Nebraska ones. Tax exempt. I'd like to get some tax exempt plates. These are brand new metal plates, a match set 6218. Tax exempt, standard size. Tony at 25, roughly 12 inches by 6 inches. We see on most of these plates. Brand new pair. I don't know how to get real ones, but it would be nice to have tax exempt ones. Tony's kicking us off at 25. Michael's jumping off for tonight. Glad you're on, Michael. Pair 6218 tax exempt Nebraska plates. Tony at 25. Kenny at 26. Tony at 30. There are two in here. They are back to back, if you guys can see. You are getting the pair. I'm not going to open them. I'm going to ship them to you just this way. Tony at 30 as we're coming up, getting close to that 1 minute mark. And there's the minute mark. 1 minute left to go on the night's auctions. Last piece, tax exempt plates. Just need to find a way to get real tax exempt plates. Be much better off. But it is cool. They are brand new in the package. Like I said, there's all kinds of weird stuff in this box. We've had dealer plates. I think there's even another set of dealer plates, tax exempt, local. I think there's non-highway, and it's all stamped in the metal. This is all stamped in the metal. They're not stickers or anything. So, Tony at 30 at the minute 30 mark. There's 1 minute 30 seconds. Tony at 30. Nut Farm's got an early date with some walleye. Doesn't sound like a bad plan. Sounds better than my day of working. Lee at 36. Lee at 36, Tony at 37. And that does it. Tony at 37. Michael just popped up over here, 43 too. I assume that was probably on these two, and it didn't pop up until late. So I apologize there, Michael, because I think Michael was in there too, and that popped up late. That's getting to be a problem, but that's all I can work with is what I've got. So Tony at 37 is who I had at the 2-minute mark. I think Michael had that in there. It just popped up too late, so I apologize for that. Yeah, that's what Michael said. He's got bad lag. And I've been trying to watch for you because I knew you've been hitting some stuff tonight, Michael. So we had Tony at 37 at the end. All right. Well, thanks for playing tonight. Had a lot of fun, had a lot of cool stuff tonight. Glad you guys enjoyed the stuff. Like I said, I got a lot of great stuff at the Springfield Swap Meet that you guys are really going to dig. On to the magazine. Tonight, we're going to catch the first half of this magazine from February of 1959. Mark had fun, Pete had fun, everybody had fun. I'm glad we had a lot of fun at the auction tonight. So, but tonight, it's a magazine from February of 1959, Motor Trend, the Big 3 Road Test. Tony says it was a tough night tonight. Yeah, it was, but it was a lot of fun. Motor Trend, 1959, Big 3 Road Test, cover price 35 cents. So since this is a regular size magazine, we're going to catch the first half of it tonight, and then we'll finish it up next week. Excuse me. Obviously, when we get into some of these magazines, we can look at every single thing in them and spend hours on them. So I kind of tried to hit the highlights, check some of this stuff out, starting off with one thing we always catch when we do a Motor Trend, Spotlight on Detroit. Now, Motor Trend always had a Spotlight on Detroit section, which had several little blurbs in it. So we're going to read a few of these. A few cool pictures on this, but not a ton on these Spotlight on Detroit sections. One thing that was really interesting about this one, and I'm going to read a little bit of this, was the focus on aluminum. Now, this car actually right here was a car built by Kaiser as a test model with aluminum. So there was a lot of this was about using aluminum in production. All aluminum cars may be closer than we think, though there is much division of opinion in Detroit as to just how quick. Kaiser Aluminum put on a very dramatic exhibition late in December, which included some rather definite specifications and a 3/8 scale model of an all-aluminum car for the immediate future. This car, called the Pele, according to Kaiser, could actually be manufactured on existing production lines by substituting aluminum for cast iron and steel in many parts. It would be aluminum from bumper to bumper. So this was a 3/8 scale. This was a 3/8 scale model of this Kaiser aluminum car. Now, obviously, what's great about this, we're looking back with hindsight. We're looking back with 2020 hindsight. This car was exhibited in December, which would have been December of 1958. Tony's wife was yelling at him to bid higher, so I'm glad she's hanging out with us too, Tony, and having fun. But obviously, we now know it was, 3, 4, 5 years ago that Ford actually came out with a primarily aluminum F-150. So from 1958 up until, the 20 teens before that really became reality. However, this was stuff they were working with in the late 50s. So kind of cool. But there again, that's what's awesome about looking at these magazines, going back, looking at them with 2020 hindsight, seeing what was going on in Detroit at that point in time. Another little excerpt in the Spotlight on Detroit section. Latest on Ford's small car. Ford Motor Company definitely will enter the small car field late in 1959 with a completely homegrown product designed to meet American needs. Contrary to reports from Europe that Ford was having a car designed by a stylist at the German Ford plant at Cologne, the new Ford product design was completed here in Detroit. While details are meager, the U.S. car will be slightly larger than the German Taunus, which, by the way, was largely designed by Wesley Dahlberg of the Ford styling section here. The new car will be completely comparable in size to the Rambler Rebel and will be powered by a 6-cylinder overhead valve engine similar, if not identical, to the present 6, which develops around 135 horsepower. Now, obviously, we now know in 1959, in February of 59, when this thing was written, they didn't know that the Ford Falcon was coming out at the end of the year. They knew some sort of small car was coming from Ford, but they didn't know yet it was the Falcon. Didn't even know that that's what it was called. But there again, we're looking back, reading what they were writing before it happened, and now we know what did happen. That's what's cool about it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Lots of different ideas, lots of different things being talked about. The 5th edition of the 300 series by Chrysler, the 1959 300E, was introduced in December. Major engine changes include a redesigned 100-pound lighter 413 block twin 4-barrel carburetors, modified intake manifold and camshaft. Horsepower remains at 380 at 5,000 RPM, with 450 foot-pounds of torque at 3,600 RPM. Torque flight transmission and 331 gears are standard, as are heavy-duty suspension and shock absorber systems. The special exhaust system carries oversized stacks with low-restriction mufflers. Now, obviously, the 5th edition, the 59 300E, talking about the new 413. Obviously, 1958, the last year for the 392 Hemi. So this new 413 conventional wedge design, still running dual quads, same horsepower, but much lighter than the Hemi was. So, but that's what's cool about it. We're talking about it now. We're looking about what they were talking about, what was happening, what they were speculating, what was going to happen, what was new for the time. So that's what's cool about it. What's even more cool is the next section that we're going to get into. Obviously, the Spotlight on Detroit always has a couple of cool things in it. The next page we're going to look at, we're going to read a few more of these excerpts as well, which is even cooler, the rumor mill. What was the rumor mill saying in February of 1959 about what was going to happen in the car industry? So the rumor mill has all these little short one-paragraph excerpts about what they think might be coming. So let's check a few of these. Let's run a few of these up the flagpole, see if they happen. Henry Kaiser is working on a new version of a small car based on the Willys chassis. Possible. They make a statement, and then they also have what they think. So they'll have it in dark black, and they'll say possible, true, possible. So they are speculating as to whether or not they are right or not. Reliable information tells us the feelers are out for designs on an up-to-date version of the Willys two-door hardtop of 1955. It's only in the talking stage at the present time, so nothing may come of it. One thing we know for sure, we'd welcome it back, which obviously we know Kaiser or Willys did not come back making cars in the 60s. All GM cars will be new in 1960. True. Under its present program, GM lines share basic bodies, and it is understood GM plans new basic bodies each year, which would also mean new sheet metal. This is about as close as any new cars come to being all new. However, the 5960 shell was basically the same. So that wasn't necessarily true, because 59 and 60 basically did use the same roof line, same body structure. So that one actually I don't think did come true. One of the big three will have flip tops in 1960. Possible, but not probable. All cars become lower, and it will be necessary to extend doors higher into the roof line. This can be done without using overhead hinges such as the Mercedes 300 SL. Something else that was kind of a big deal in 1959. Pontiac did something in 1959 that was totally new, and it was causing problems. We've talked about it a little bit before with some of the promo models we've done from 1960. In 1959, Pontiac introduced what is commonly known now as wide track, a wider tire and wheel stance for better stability. However, that created a problem. You can't have your 1959 Pontiac washed on all automatic wash racks because of its wide tread, which most automatic wash systems were not designed to handle. This is true. Automatic Car Wash Association reports its members may have to spend as much as $1.5 million to revamp washing lanes, which are now too narrow for the wide track Pontiac. So, thought that was kind of interesting. Hey, goofball, what are you doing over there? One of the big three will have a transaxle design in 1960. Probable. Transaxles combine the transmission and differential in a single unit at the rear axle using independently sprung rear wheel patterned after Dion. This provides a fixed angulatory for the driveline, enabling engineers to eliminate transmission hump and driveline tunnel. Designs are so nearly complete, we felt it might appear on this year's Lincoln or Continental. Now, the only thing that I can think of right off the top of my head that used that configuration was the 1961 Pontiac Tempest. I can't really think of anything else that did end up using that design, and maybe some of you guys do remember something that I'm not thinking about, but to me, that's the only thing I can think of that did use that design. However, it came out in 1961, not 1960, so they were a little bit off on that. Most GM cars will have aluminum engines in 1960. GM has developed some experimental aluminum engines, but latest dope is that much work must still be done before they can be placed in production. Studies of the corrosive effects of water in various parts of the country, as well as antifreeze solutions, are now being made. This may determine how quickly these engines could be made available nationally. And obviously, they didn't happen in 1960. The 215 came out in 61 or 62. So a few years off on that, but we did see it. So Kenny says GTO. GTO was based on the Tempest, but the 61, 62, and 63 Tempest was a transaxle design. 64, when the GTO came out, Tempest was a solid rear axle at that point. Something else interesting about the rumor mill, gasoline turbines will be available in mass-produced cars within 5 years. They're saying this is possible. Professor Frank Schwartz of the University of Michigan says such an engine could be mass-produced by 1965. It would be no larger than current engines and would produce 200 horsepower on either kerosene or fuel oil. It would require less lubricating oil, no liquid cooling, and no transmission. Scott says Corsair was a transaxle, or Corvair, yes. Corvair was a transaxle, but it was also a rear-mounted engine. The transaxle they were talking about in this used still used a drive shaft to eliminate the transmission tunnel. So Corvair did use that, but it was a little different configuration than what they were actually talking about in this specific article. Because the Tempest was a rear-mounted transaxle with a front-mounted engine and a drive shaft that went from the front to the back, which was what they were describing in here, to eliminate transmission hump and a driveline tunnel throughout the floor of the car. So that wraps us up for the rumor mill. We'll catch a few more articles in here, including the road test on the big three, Ford, Plymouth, and Chevrolet. I don't know if I'm the wizard of info, but we're back with the Johnny Carson comments, which is cool, guys. I do appreciate it. I don't think I'm near that good, but I do try. I do try to put together a decent show every week. The big three road test, Ford, Chevy, and Plymouth. Action shots of all three cars starting this one off. A lot of pages on this. We could spend a half the night on this article alone, but we're going to hit some of the high points to see what they said was great, good, or bad about the Chevrolet, the Plymouth, or the Ford in 1959. These were all V8 powered cars. And these were pretty in-depth tests. What type of car was tested? The Chevrolet, the Impala Series four-door sedan, powered by the optional 348 with 3 deuces. How'd you like to find that car? That 59 Impala four-door sedan. Yep, I can see the badge on the front of it. We can see it on the front here. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the kind comments. If we look here close, it does have the rally flags on the hood. Blue Impala four-door sedan with a 348 and 3 deuces. That would be cool to find today. 9-to-1 compression, 280 horse, turbo glide transmission with a 308 rear, power steering, power brakes, radio, and heater. The 59 Ford was a Fairlane 500 four-door sedan with a 352 V8, 4-barrel carb, 9.6-to-1 compression with 300 horse. Power brakes, power steering, 2-speed automatic transmission, with 291 gears, radio, and a heater. The Plymouth was a Fury four-door hardtop with a Golden Commando engine package and Torque Flight automatic transmission. Optional on all Plymouth V8 models. The Golden Commando is a 361 with a 4-barrel, 10-to-1 compression rated at 305 horse. Push-button control 3-speed automatic, 331 gears, power steering, power brakes, power mirror, radio, and heater. Front and rear rubber bumper protectors. In 58, the Golden Commando package automatically included heavy-duty shocks and suspension, but this year they must be ordered, or the car will come with standard units. You're late with a 348, yep. And that's kind of weird. The 348 with 3 deuces was 280 horse. The 352 with a 4-barrel was 300 horse. And the 361 Golden Commando with a 4-barrel was 305 horse. But they got into a lot of detail. Check out the windshield shots to show the angle of your view, the room on the interior. Under hood shots, comparative handling on a challenging course, shows them on a road course, shows under the hood shots. Like I said, they got pretty in depth in this article. Does it have good acceleration, fuel economy? Talks about the spares. Actually shows you how much room you even have in the trunk in case you need to take a nap. Fuel economy. The 59 Impala, overall average with a 348 and 3 deuces, 13.6. The 59 Fairlane with a 352, average 12.5. The 59 Fury, these are based on 58 numbers. Based on they were looking at 58 numbers, trying to compare them, or compare them to the 58. The 59 Impala did 13.8. The 58 Impala did 13.6 on average. The 59 Ford average overall 13.8 in 59 versus 12.5 for 58. Yeah, and it doesn't have a trunk release on the inside. That's true. You could put your mother-in-law in the trunk. Could sleep 4. The 59 Fury averaged 13 miles per gallon versus 10 for the 58 Fury. So that's another big difference there, going from the 413 to the 361, or to the 413 from the Hemi was 13 mile per gallon versus 10 mile per gallon. Brandon's got to jump off tonight. Jim did get 4 of them bought this weekend. Just got a text from Jim. 61 Pontiac Ventura, 62 Lincoln convertible, Triumph TR6, and a Ferrari Testarossa. So he had some good clients out there he's picked up some sweet stuff for those guys this weekend as well. You could definitely sneak people into the drive-in for sure. And of course, I think they had to take this picture on everything they road tested back in the 50s and 60s, where they had the monitoring wheel hooked behind the car. I don't know what they used that for, but it's in every road test picture from the 50s and 60s. And to wrap it up, they actually give you real dimensions. Check this out. Like actual dimensions, leg room, headroom, like sketched it out and actually put the inches in there. That's right. Tractor Mike says Miami Vice Gym if he bought a Testarossa. Tony said they used to sneak in his buddy's caddy. I'm sure you got a bunch of them in the trunk of that thing. Pete's digging the magazine tonight. Glad you guys are liking it. The next article we're going to catch, and this one, it's kind of tough to get into without getting into the whole thing, but I wanted to touch on it because it was so cool. 300 mile per hour on the Salt by Mickey Thompson. Someday soon, I hope to bring the world's land speed record back to America. But today, all I ask of my fatigue machine and worn engines is 300 miles an hour. So it's kind of cool, but the bad part about it, it's got a great graphic. Mickey Thompson, I think it's in Challenger 1. But it's kind of do without reading the whole story, but might be worth getting to read the whole story. Check the drawing out by Mickey Thompson. And like I said, it's a whole story about trying to go for 300 on the Salt. I think that's Challenger 1, but I'm not sure. A couple more things we want to look at tonight. This next article I thought was very interesting because it was a pretty big deal. And they have 6 pages on it. And it's on models. In Motor Trend, a magazine is typically known for, new car tests, things like that. They have a 6-page spread on custom modernizing in miniature. If you feel creative, want to customize your dream on wheels but can't afford it, this approach to custom modernizing may be just the thing for you. Yes, customizing model cars. I did not watch any of Alex's videos of her on the Salt. And I haven't talked to Dennis either lately, so I have not talked to any of them here lately to see how things going. I didn't catch any of her videos on the Salt. Shayla showed me some stuff that Meg was putting out, but I didn't see any of them or didn't watch any of them. But literally talks about, and this was a big deal, customizing model cars. Now, we know that by the early 60s, they were making customization kits. You could add, you could build 3-in-1 kits where it had accessories. You could build it stock. You could add accessories. You could use the accessories on other cars. It was a pretty big deal, customizing model cars back in the day. Bill still builds them today. I don't blame you, Bill. Talks about some of the tools. Shows you how to cut. This is really cool. This was a big deal. The little saws, the little files, where you should cut, how you should cut. Really got into some detail on this. And once again, in the last page, in the last segment, I mean, really gets detailed. You know, if you're building a custom and it's lower, you know, shows cut the bottom off the seat so that your seat sits lower in the car, like if you're going to put a canopy on it. So a really detailed article about model cars in Motor Trend, which was kind of weird for the day, but it was a big thing. One more page, one more article we're going to catch real quick. Then we're going to catch some ads. Whatever happened to these touted features of yesteryear? These touted features of yesteryear from 1959. Yeah, that's true, Pete. They're cool pointers even for today. Whatever happened to these touted features of yesteryear? V'd windshields and side-mounted spares. These features were eliminated when streamlined styling began to catch the public's fancy. Another victim of the new design was the lowly running board. Whatever happened to Speedster bodies? Pattern after racing car bodies, the Speedster will probably never return because of the change in race car body design. The tonneau cover on this well-preserved Auburn is a concession to a modern sports car accessory. Sun visors on aluminum cars. Sun visors began to fade from the scene in the early 40s, but reappeared as accessories in the late 40s. With today's wrap-over windshields not knowing where to stop, sun visors may stage a comeback. As for aluminum cars, only 10 of the models shown here were built by the Aluminum Company of America in 1926. Axle, steering assembly, wheels, and engine were made of light metal. Only special bodies were made of aluminum today, but aluminum engines may soon be offered back on some Detroit cars. So check out these pictures. V'd windshields, side mounts, and running boards, the Boattail Speedster, and aluminum in cars. There again, this was one of 10 made in an aluminum body back in the 20s as an experimental type thing. But they said one thing that we do know now, that they were not completely right on, saying Boattail Speedsters were going to be gone. Obviously, we know our good friend Doug Prey's dad, Glenn, brought them back in the 70s as a limited production of the Auburn Boattail Speedster again. And that gets us to about the halfway point in the magazine. How about we get to some ads? Ford did a hemp car in 1941. Yeah, I remember hearing about that too. But we'll start right inside the front cover here. Now Plymouth offers the biggest V8 in its class at a reduced price. Meet the new Golden Commando $395, bigger and quicker than its 58 counterpart, yet lower in price. You can get this giant 361 cubic inch with a stick shift or new water-cooled 3-speed push-button torque flight transmission. Good-looking 59 Fury in that ad. This was a good ad on the rumor mill page. Proven and exhaustive Motor Trend tests the Boralite battery with boron detergent action electrolyte. Third of a page over here, full column on the Boralite batteries. Now, there's something I wanted to point out about this, but I wanted to share with you the ad first, so you saw the Boralite battery right here. And it says $1,000 reward. This is in 1959. $1,000 reward will be paid the undersigned to the person who can prove we have ever failed to honor the Boralite battery 7-year warranty. I personally guarantee that all legitimate claims for adjustments will be honored promptly. Signed, the president of the company. The International Tire and Rubber Company, a division of Ward International, Los Angeles, California. $1,000 reward was a pretty big deal in 1959. So they were making a pretty big deal out of their Boralite battery by guaranteeing a $1,000 reward if their battery did not go 7 years. Another sharp ad that actually had a little color to it, because as you've noticed, we haven't had a lot of color in this magazine, and we didn't get a lot of color in this era. New different dual action motor oil for both hot and cold running engines. Kendall. Ask your favorite dealer for it now. They squeezed a little red into their ad, which definitely makes it pop. There's no doubt about it. And then opposite the Kendall ad, our go-to ad, and we'll check out a few things they've got in here. Every car magazine in this era, of course, had the mandatory J.C. Whitney ad in it. We see him in all of these. Let's see what they had on special. Lowering kit for your 58 Chevrolet, $5.35. Not a bad deal. Thunderbird type air scoop, $7.50. Style Leader Continental kits, $49.95 for the whole kit. 49 to 59 Chevy, except 58, 59 convertible. 49 to 59 Ford, except Skyliner. 52 to 59 Mercury. 55 to 59 Plymouth. 56 to 59 Studebaker, and 57 Thunderbird. So, yep, it's a pretty cool deal to check these out. Exhaust cutouts, $375. Pinstriping, car plaques, and matching jacket emblems. Hubcap spinners, $2.95 a piece. All kinds of cool stuff on there. Lots of comments popping up on the batteries. Must have been hung up in there a little bit. But when you look at the Kendall ad, since it's opposite the J.C. Whitney ad, look at the difference just adding the red to the Kendall ad makes when you look at this thing. Pete, those magazines were so much better back then. That's why I subscribed to Old Cars Only. And I agree with you. I think Angelo does a great job working. I mean, obviously I work with Angelo, so I'm a little bit biased, but I do think Old Cars does a great job of having good diversity in their offerings. One more ad we're going to catch. Once again, they threw a little bit of color at this one, and definitely made it pop for a Car Skin Advanced Formula No Rubbing Paste Wax. Duration of up to 12 months, not just another wax, a modern scientific achievement. Combines unbelievable ease of application with unsurpassed durability and brilliance, makes new acrylic finishes more beautiful, and enhances the luster and durability of conventional lacquers and enamels. Resists rain, spotting, dust, and traffic film accumulation. Price $2 for Car Skin Wax. So that will pretty much wrap us up for the first half of the February 1959 issue of Motor Trend. And what do we have coming next week? Looks like we got some electric car stuff in here. That ought to be interesting. Customizing in miniature we have already had. Oh, and speaking of the battery ad, look what's coming up next week. Avoid battery frauds. So, stay tuned. Might be an interesting week. Avoid battery frauds after just looking at the $1,000 guarantee your battery will go 7 years. That's a good point, Tony. The Car Skin Wax is a cool can. Not a very common one. Must not have been an extremely popular ad or popular product. But it is a pretty cool can. So anyway, we'll get into some more of that next week as we wrap up the February 1959 issue of Motor Trend. Tony's digging it. Glad you guys are liking it. And we've got some more cool stuff coming next week in the magazine. With that, we'll get ready to wind this one down. What's coming up next week in videos, like we talked about a little bit? Let's go for a ride at Duesenberg. It's it's still cool, and I still can't believe that I did it, but I've ridden in a Duesenberg with Doug Prey. We drove it around the lot. I got in the rumble seat. I rode the rumble seat, shot some video about the rumble seat. Just the coils just made a wreck of it. But definitely want to try to get I'm going to try to I have basically had to just I shot one clip when I was clearing the back of the rumble seat. I got some static in it. I left that one in there so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The rest of it, the stuff inside the car, I just basically had to mute it. I'll put some I got some jazzy type music found for it. So I thought, we'll work with that. Not much I can do about it at this point because I didn't realize it until after we had already left. We literally zipped down there Monday. We were there for about 2 hours. Shayla's like, I can't believe we're out here in 2 hours. I was like, well, I would like stay and hang out, but I know you want to get going. So I rode to Duesenberg. It was super cool. It was super awesome. And we're going to share it with you guys so you can go for a ride with us in the Duesenberg as well. Try to have that up tomorrow night. Plus, we'll have the walk around video from Springfield Swap Meet, where we're going to get to meet Benny from Classic Ride Society and talk to some of our other friends that we always see at the swap meets and share it with you guys with some of the stuff that was there. Then we'll get the video up of after I unloaded everything that came home from the Springfield Swap Meet. And a few of those pieces are going to be already on the way to you before you even see the video. So that's what's coming up. I've got a super busy week. I've got almost 20 cars to list for F&E. I don't know if I'll get them all done this week, but I've got a bunch of stuff lined up for F&E Collector Auto Auction this fall. I'm going to be super busy with that. And so put that on your calendars. You can make it out here October 7th. We got some cool stuff. I talked to some guys at Springfield this weekend, have some possibly epic consignments. Hopefully we get some of those done. So keep an eye on that site, FEClassicCarAuction.com. We're going to start loading that thing this week. The YouTube channel, F&E Classic Car Auction on YouTube. I'll start getting videos up on there. I've already got one up. I haven't made it public yet. If you have not subscribed to F&E Classic Car Auction on YouTube, be sure to do that, as well as be sure to like the Facebook page. We will have content coming out on there as well. I'm going to get super busy with that, and I've got a lot of cars to pick up. I wrote a check for a couple more today that I made a deal on before I left. So I got to get on some of this stuff. 57 Cadillac and a 54 Plymouth, as well as 64 and a 65 El Camino, but no bodies, doors, front clips, bumpers, things like that. Just no shells or no frames, but everything that basically unbolted off the body for a 64, 65 El Camino, or all the front clip stuff the same as Chevelle. So got a lot of work to do. Got to get stuff shipped. A few things hanging from last week. There wasn't a ton of stuff that sold last week, which sucks, but it's good because I won't have a problem staying caught up on shipping. Get on shipping tomorrow and get ready to go. Sounds good, Leo. So stay tuned. Be sure to get on the F&E pages. That's all going to be coming up here soon. Lots of cool stuff going to be happening there here real in the near future. I got to work on that. I got to haul some cars. I got to ship parts. So I got a busy week ahead of me at least. Appreciate you guys swinging by tonight, hanging out with us for another episode of Sunday Night Live Chat. Still amazing you guys keep coming back, but you do. So I guess we'll keep doing them. Tuesday night, we will be on live again, Toy Tuesday. We'll dig through some of the cool stuff I brought home this weekend from the Springfield Swap Meet. We'll do a little bit of digging through that. Your email address to Pete, I guess you can get it to me, and then I can get it forwarded to him. I can do it that way, Mark, so he can get you on the list. So we'll see what happens. Keep the Pioneer Village stuff in mind. If we do the Adopt a Car thing, maybe we'll want to do that. Or if you guys want to just donate directly, get a hold of me, and I will get you that link. And it may even be on their website as well. I'm not sure. So keep that in mind. We will do Toy Tuesday live. Like I said, we'll see you all Tuesday night and see how the week goes. And definitely plan on hopefully seeing everybody back here next Sunday Night Live Chat, 7 o'clock Central Time. Should have another full episode next week. We'll see some of you live Tuesday night for Toy Tuesday, and definitely hope to see. If you want to wait till I get you paid up to ship mine, Tony, perfect. Awesome, Tony. And also, real quick, now that you mentioned that, Tony, please get your addresses on your payments if you can. It just makes it so much simpler for me. There are a couple of things on the shipping bench right now from that last Friday before I was getting ready to leave. I've got all this stuff lined out. I'm trying to get everything packaged I can and out of here before I leave. and there were one or two of them. I get them packaged. I go grab the sheet, and there's no address on it. So all I do is throw it off the side, go to the next one. So please help me out with addresses. I do not have Zelle X-ray. I do not have Zelle. So just PayPal friends and family if you want to do it electronically. So please, guys, help me out with the addresses. And yes, I know I've had them in the past. Was that a month ago, 2 months ago? How long do I dig through PayPal? How many? I ship dozens of packages a week, going through piles and piles of receipts trying to find it. So please, if you guys can remember to throw your addresses on there, it makes my life so much easier and gets things processed a lot quicker. I know, Kenny, but one thing about you, Kenny, you usually catch yourself when you do it, and you do get it to me before I get them packaged. So, but anyway, more Johnny Carson comments popping up. That still amazes me. I'm glad that you guys think I'm doing a good job. I do try to do a good job for you when I work these up and put these together every weekend so that we can all have a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys' participation. I appreciate you guys. Invite your friends over, see if they want to come hang out with us, see if we can grow this thing out a little bit more. Kind of crazy that this is at number 176. We've done this 176 times, and we're still kicking along, and we're still going strong. So thanks for all the comments, several comments on both Facebook and YouTube about you guys for having it was a good night tonight, and it was a great night tonight, and that's because you guys are here making it a great night. So thanks to all of you for doing that. We'll see some of you Tuesday night on Toy Tuesday, and we definitely want to see you all back here next Sunday evening, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, Sunday night live chat. I don't remember, Mark, if I had you in tonight's I don't think I had you in tonight's raffle. Did I, Mark? I'll check real quick. Yes, I've got you from the first week, Mark. I do have you in there, Mark. So I've got you in there, Mark. You are good to go. That'll wrap us up for tonight. Hope to see everybody next Sunday night, 7 o'clock Sunday night live chat. Shopcat's here. Just stopped in for just a minute. Glad you made it for a minute, Shopcat. Have a great week, everybody. We sure hope to see you all right back here next Sunday night for Sunday night live chat. Thanks for watching, everybody.